Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard. Every season, coaches evaluate their athletes. We evaluate their commitment, their discipline, attitude, leadership, and their skill development. We ask whether they became better teammates, better competitors, better people. We spend months helping athletes become the best version of themselves. But I wonder how many coaches ask themselves the very same questions. Did I become a better listener this season? Or did I become more patient, more wiser, become more humble? Did I make decisions based on principles or emotions? Or did I become a better human being? Because coaching has taught me something that I don't think we talk about enough. Developing athletes and developing ourselves are not the same thing. Many coaches spend an entire career investing in everyone else while quietly neglecting the person standing behind the whistle. While we attend coaching clinics, we study offensive and defensive systems and concepts. We watch hours of film. We search for better drills, better technology, better strategies, and better ways to improve performance. And those investments are important. They never should stop. But here's a question I continue asking myself. How much intentional effort do coaches invest in becoming better human beings? No better technicians, no better recruiters, or no better managers. Just a better people. Because knowledge teaches us basketball. Character determines how we use that knowledge. And one of the greatest dangers in coaching is not ignorance, it's ego. And ego is often misunderstood. It isn't simply arrogance. It isn't believing you are smarter than everyone else. A coaching ego is much quieter. It appears when our identity becomes attached to one position. When we begin believing athletes succeed because of us rather than through their own commitment and hard work. And when criticism feels like an attack instead of an opportunity to learn. When changing our minds feels like failure. When protecting our reputation becomes more important than pursuing the truth. The frightening thing about ego is that it grows silently. It convinces us that experience automatically produces wisdom. I don't believe it does. Experience gives us opportunities to become wise. Reflection determines whether we actually do. I have met coaches with decades of experience who stopped growing years ago. I have also met young coaches whose humility accelerated their growth because they never believed they had all the answers. Perhaps the difference was never experience. Perhaps it was teachability. One of the greatest qualities a coach can possess is the willingness to remain a student, to keep asking questions, to keep listening, to keep learning, to keep admitting, I don't know, or I was wrong. Those are not signs of weaknesses. They are signs of maturity. And every coach should have a place where they no longer the leader, a place where they become the student again, someone who challenges them, someone who asks difficult questions, someone who refuses to simply agree with everything they say. Because coaches spend every day helping others grow. The question is, but who's helping the coach grow? For me, this is also where faith becomes important. Not because faith teaches offensive systems or defensive rotations, it doesn't, but it reminds us that no coach is the highest authority. We are accountable too. It reminds us that wisdom is different from knowledge, that humility is stronger than pride, that influence is something to be stewarded, not possessed. And whether that guidance comes through faith, trusted mentors, honest reflection, or people courageous enough to challenge us, every coach needs something beyond themselves. Because the moment a coach believes they no longer need correction, they become most vulnerable to leading from their own ego instead of their principles. And perhaps that's where becoming a great coach truly begins. Not by learning another drill, not by winning another championship, but by never stopping the work of becoming a better human being. If the first part leaves us with the question, who is developing the coach, then perhaps what's coming next should leave us with another question. Who are we becoming while we coach? Because every season changes our athletes, but every season changes as well. The real question is whether that change is intentional. Because one lesson I believe every coach eventually learns this. Basketball is always changing. The game evolves. New offensive systems appear. Defensive philosophies change. Technology improves. Analytics continue to reshape the world. If we stop learning the game, eventually the game moves beyond us. The same is true of our character. If we stop growing as people, our leadership eventually stops growing as well. And that's why I believe every coach needs principles that never change, even while the game itself continues to evolve. Patience, integrity, justice, humility, honesty, self control, compassion. Those qualities should never depend on the score or the opponent or the pressure of the moment. One of the greatest responsibilities in coaching is making decisions that affect other people. Who starts? Who sits? Who receives another opportunity? Who becomes captain? Who hears difficult feedback? Who earns trust? Those decisions carry weight, and that's exactly why they cannot be made according to emotion, or convenience, or personal preference. A judge doesn't create the law while hearing the case. The law already exists. In the same way, a coach should not invent standards in the middle of a difficult situation. The principles must already exist. Otherwise, athletes are not being led by consistency. They are being led by mood. And it's unfair to everyone. Another lesson coaching has taught me is that our responsibility extends far beyond today's performance. While it is easy to coach the athlete standing in front of us, it is much harder to coach the person they might become. The quiet athlete may become tomorrow's captain. The struggling athlete may become tomorrow's teacher. The player who spends most of the season on a bench may one day become a coach, a parent, or a leader whose influence reaches far beyond basketball. If we evaluate athletes only by today's performance, we may completely overlook tomorrow's potential. And perhaps that's why great coaches see possibility before they see results. They understand they are not simply preparing athletes for the next game, they are helping prepare people for the next stage of life. And that responsibility should humble all of us. I also believe every coach needs a regular moments of reflection, not simply asking, did we win? But asking, did I lead well? Was I fair? Or should ask themselves, did I listen before I judge? Did I remain faithful to my principles when pressure increased? Those questions matter because they remind us that success should never become the only measure of good coaching. A coach can win games while losing credibility. Also, a coach can build a successful program while neglecting the very people who made that success possible. The scoreboard tells us who scored points. It can never tell us whether we led the wisdom, whether we treated people with dignity, whether we made decisions we can still stand behind years later. And perhaps that has always been the limitation of the scoreboard. It measures performance. It cannot measure character. It measures outcomes. It cannot measure integrity. It measures victories. It cannot measure the countless moments when a coach quietly chooses patience instead of frustration, listening instead of assumptions, principles instead of emotions, service instead of ego. Those are the victories no stats will ever record. And yet, they may be the victories that matter most. As we close this first season of Beyond the Scoreboard, I hope we continue studying the game. I hope we continue learning new ideas. And I hope we continue searching for better ways to teach and lead. But I hope we never forget that the greatest investment we make will never be another offensive system or another coaching clinic. It will be the investment we make in ourselves. Because long before athletes believe in our philosophy, they decide whether they believe in us. And when our coaching careers eventually come to an end, People probably won't remember every play we designed or every championship we won. They will remember whether we were fair, whether we were trustworthy, whether we were consistent, and whether we were treated people with dignity. In the end, those are the things basketball could never measure, and perhaps those are the things that have always existed beyond the scoreboard.